Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's SIIA Tech Chats. I am joined by Neil Wainwright, a longtime SaaS entrepreneur and also co-chair of the SIIA Software and Services Division Board of Directors. Now, Neil comes to us today with over 25 years of technical engineering experience and has been an entrepreneur in building and managing businesses for over 15 years. Neil, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Rihanna.
Now, let's jump right in. You've spent over a decade in the expense management space as CEO of Nexonia. How has the adoption of cloud and the growing importance of mobile changed the financial management space, and particularly expense management?
Well, I think it's changed it dramatically. I mean, when we got into SaaS, it was 2002. We launched in 2004, and there was actually very few people doing SaaS back then, and now it's kind of the standard. The other thing is mobile. Mobile's gotten to be very much central to how expense management is delivered. And as a matter of fact, you really can't deliver expense management and be successful out there without a mobile presence. And I think at this stage, when it comes to SaaS, you really have to be SaaS in the expense management space. So we were kind of at the forefront of both of those. We were the first mobile app that ever existed on the Apple App Store, the very first day it launched with mobile. So we've been SaaS since 2004, and then we were SaaS since 2008. So really, those two things have been central to the expense management space.
Right. Now, I mentioned earlier you're an engineer at heart, yet as a CEO today, you have to be thinking constantly about the customer. What advice would you give specifically to, say, product teams on leveraging the customer to drive your product roadmap?
They really have to listen to the customers all the time, and also working with the support teams that support those customers, the implementation teams that implement your solution for those customers, because you're going to get a lot of feedback from customers. And there's one of two ways it can go. You can actually say to the customer, sorry, we don't do that. We're not going to do that for you. And that creates a bit of a barrier between you and the customer being really happy. Or you kind of double down and you listen to what the customer's asking for, and you figure out a creative way to deliver a solution that's going to meet their needs. And it's also going to help you advance your product, make it more flexible, more configurable. And you really have to address what those customers are asking for, because if you do it right, you're going to have a customer for life. And that's really, really important when you have a SaaS or mobile business.
Now, let's flip that a little bit to the responsibilities of a CEO. What's it like carrying those CEO responsibilities in such a customer-driven world? I mean, we live in a world where customers are they're really our CEOs, right?
Yeah, no, it keeps you really busy. I'll say that, because people always know that if you're a customer-centric CEO, people can reach you at any time, day or night. You also have to make sure you manage that so that you're always involving your teams and giving the appropriate teams, whether it's the customer success team or the engineering team, the ability to respond directly to those customers and get engaged. Because as CEO, you can't do it all. You're really reliant and dependent on the teams that you built and lead to execute on your vision, but you do need those people to be very involved. And if you try and do too much, then you'll have a scaling problem. And it's all about scale once you get to a certain size.
Now, as an entrepreneur, you've had experience with funding and securing rounds of funding. But as we all know today, with so much competition out there, getting the attention of investors is difficult. What advice could you give other entrepreneurs who are seeking VC funding?
Well, Rihanna, it's interesting because for a lot of years we were, interested in funding, but no one was ever interested in us. And what happened with us is that all of a sudden one of our largest competitors got sold to SAP for many billions of dollars, and all of a sudden everybody beat a path to our door. So my advice to other CEOs is really just build a great business, make it profitable, make it successful, have great customers that say wonderful things about you. And I believe now it's almost at the point where there's more investors than there are companies that are looking for investment. So if you're the right type of company, there will be lots of investors that will want to line up to work with you. If you're not the right size yet, or your product hasn't matured, or you have to work on some of those customers to get them happier, then yeah, it's going to be a bit more difficult. But if you hit those things and you hit that at the right time, then there's going to be a lot of investors that are going to be wanting to talk to you.
Neil, thank you so much for your time and insights today. For more information on Neil and SIA, please visit our websites and be sure to stay tuned for next week's SIA Tech Chat.